And so folk come for the worship and the fellowship. That's koinonia. And so here's our new dilemma. How do we continue the fellowship in a virtual setting? How do we continue to be relational though we can't touch and we can't hug? And so the purpose of this workshop is to start fleshing how that looks going forward. Let me help you. I can tell you right now, church will probably never return back to what it was. This pandemic is shaking us, all right? But at the same time, it's not all bad. Because the number one thing that we were trying to get as a body of believers, as a church, is to get every member to go into the world and spread the gospel. And we got no problem with getting people to come. A lot of problem getting people to go. But the pandemic done sent us all in our own homes. And so now, since we are sort of spread, how do we continue to spread the gospel from where we are? Okay? And so that's the purpose of this workshop. Let me push, because I got to make sure I stay on time. With our introduction, due to the corona outbreak, leaders in all sectors are overwhelmed by adjustments they are having to make and sustain their organization and achieve their goals. And it has become evident that there is going to be a new normal, and nobody knows for sure what it will look like. Social assimilation and face-to-face gatherings have diminished, which has forced churches to execute ministries in a new and different way. Consequently, Abyssinia's leadership team has been forced to figure out how to minister to our members and community in a safe and effective way. And one of the ways that we're going to look at doing this is with quarantines, T-E-A-M-S, all right? And I'll explain that as I go. Our virtual strategies for ministries, let's look at that. COVID-19 forced Abyssinia's leadership to figure out some things. Figure out, one, how to lead our congregation if we're not all here present. Two, how to continue to fellowship with believers, since fellowship is the number two thing folk do when they come. And three, how to minister to members and community in a safe and effective way. Consequently, we must define a virtual strategy, one that maximizes our ministry impact by meeting the spiritual needs of our members and connecting Christ to community. Let me help you. Our assignment still stays the same. We still have to spread the gospel. We still have to connect Christ to community in a relational way. And watch this, we still have to meet the spiritual needs of our members as we are teaching to help folk grow spiritually and mature in Christ, and as we are literally ministering to folk who have specific needs, be it counseling, be it food, be it whatever, all right? So how do we do that now? Because watch this, we can't go home and sit and decide that we just gonna do church online for 90 minutes and we done for the week. That's not church. And it's certainly not Abyssinian. All right? Our goal has always been to connect Christ to community. And watch this, in a pandemic, that doesn't stop our responsibility. We still must connect Christ to community. So now, since we used to go out, knock on doors, especially before this week here, we'd have spent last weekend knocking on doors and inviting folk to church. It's a new era. And because it's a new era and we can't do that, now the question is, how do we do it in a safe and effective manner? How do we minister to the needs of our members and our community and still keep it safe, all right? Because watch this, the first idea was to go totally virtual. Shut everything down and we'll do everything virtually. And God was good. Let me say, I want to go on record and say that God was very good. Very, very good, okay? God was very good because, watch this, for the first, 7, 8 months of the pandemic, we had no deaths of immediate families or members. And so we were not faced with the reality of having to do homegoing services. But we kept on through the year, and when October hit, we started getting into folk who were losing family members. Our first reaction was, we're going to keep the sanctuary closed, and we'll have services somewhere else so that we can keep the sanctuary closed and don't have to worry about having folk come in here and be exposed. We quickly learned from the first few funerals in different places that this ain't working, because we in other folks' churches, but we couldn't control the environment. And we were in one church, and they had one microphone, and everybody did reflections, talked, shared, and then they put it in the stand for me to use. And let me help you. Y'all know me. Before the pandemic, I don't share my mic. I keep my mic just for me. And somebody said, oh, he's so bougie. No, that ain't bougie. That's what my doctor told me to do. Because watch this, sharing a microphone that hasn't been cleaned and you catch a bacteria that gets in your throat, then guess what you can't do? What you get paid to do. Because if I can't talk, we shut down. All right? And so I had to, and I did this, we've had personal mics when Bishop was alive. He had his, I had mine, and we did not share because we didn't want to spread germs, and we didn't, because I don't care who you are, it ain't gonna take long before you talking on the mic, and I hold the mic, y'all know me, I'm using the stand today, it ain't gonna take long before it hits your lips. And when it hits your lips and you keep talking, the next thing you do, yeah. And so I can honestly tell you, I spray the microphone. When I'm preaching, I can see from the lights the spray coming out of my mouth onto my mic. And there have been some events that we've had after the sermon, and I have to invite folk up, and I feel bad because it looked like I'm holding my mic so they won't use it. I really don't want to give you listen, that foam is soaked. And to give it to you puts my spit on your lips. So we were in environments we couldn't control. We couldn't social distance. We couldn't check temperatures. We couldn't control the cleanliness of different microphones and surfaces. And so I had to make an executive decision and tell everybody, listen, that ain't working. We got to come back here. Because back here, I can control the count. We can control the temperatures. We can control the cleanliness of podiums and microphones. And so, yeah, we've been working on this thing. And we worked a whole heap of the kinks out. And you'll hear about that in a second. Tools and techniques. We must unpack tools and techniques that will enable us to produce, one, a communication strategy. All right? Here's the first thing we discovered in a virtual world is how do we reach all of our members? And let me help you. This is still challenging because what we discovered is our seniors don't do computers. And the reason we were waiting and we had a delay because we were trying to get on Boxcast, and I had to make an executive decision that Boxcast would be delayed because we would have had to shut all this down, put everybody out of their rooms, and re-hook up Boxcast and then start. And I just said, hey, we got, at that point, we 50-some folk on. And so I said, we're just going to have to delay Boxcast. I know I have thrown a curveball to my seniors because we told seniors, all you got to do, don't worry about trying to get a login for Zoom and all that there. If you can just make it to the internet and you'll see the workshop. It's going to be delayed. That's a challenge. We send out the code, and I got folk in here. How many of y'all got a code on your phone to register? Okay? Watch this here. It becomes challenging when seniors don't have phones. Or seniors got flip phones that you can't send no text message to. So how do we communicate with everybody? How do I get the message out? We're using some snail mail. We put some stuff in envelopes and mail it out, trying to get folk here. We use the conference call, the no-code conference call. Give them one number. They don't have to punch in no code once it's on, so that they can listen to service. For folk who can't get service on a social media platform or a computer, they can literally pick up the phone, dial this number, and listen to worship. We've got some challenges, all right? And so now, how do we do what we're doing even better? And we're going to talk about what role you're going to play in that, okay? Because at this point, we got to have folk help other folk who can't connect so that they know what's going on. And we really need to have folk who can help get folk online and stuff like that. And we got to figure out some other strategies, okay? And we'll talk about that. A full and engaging virtual church. Here's what we discovered. We are not engaging to the level that we can be. All right? For the most part, we are using our platform, be it our web page, abyssinia.org. You can go on and click on the line for the broadcast on Sunday, and you can watch it that way. You can see us on Facebook. You can see us on YouTube. Problem is, we are treating those platforms as just for a broadcast. And what we aren't doing is interacting to the point where we have been establishing relationships. I got to give shout out to Sister Beelan and some other folk who are running the social media because they are typing while I'm preaching points, and somebody say something, they're answering, they're trying to be more interactive. We discovered yesterday from one of Facebook's executives that the reason you will come to Abyssinia on Facebook, and some of y'all look at worship and you say, oh man, it's only 90 folk watching. Wow, it's only 100 folk watching. And you're trying to figure out why the number's low. Well, the number's low because they admitted it. Facebook changed the algorithm. Because so many people are just using Facebook to broadcast. Listen, if that's what you're doing, just to broadcast one directional, they changed the algorithm so that you don't reach all them people. And to get more people, you got to interact. And the more people you communicate with, the more comments that you see, the more comments you're getting, the more people who like you, put like, type a comment, the algorithm opens you up and exposes you to more people. So if you're watching one broadcast and you say, dang, I'm looking at so-and-so them broadcasts on Facebook, and they got 2,000 people watching. And I come to Abyssinia and we got 98 people watching. The difference is that they are engaging, which is opening up how far and how many people will see them. So we'll talk about that more in the coming weeks. We need a virtual teaching environment. We know we're doing Sunday school. We have limited classes that are virtual, and we have General Assembly. You know how Sunday looks in this sanctuary for Sunday school. There's a class. Every place we could put a class, we got a class. But we're virtual now, and our classes have greatly reduced, all right? And so some folk are joining classes, the other folk, oh well. Well, let me help you with that. How is the number one way we keep up with members? It's through classes. I know you say your deacons got a long list of people on their district, but it's the classes where people, if you're missing, somebody can say, well, what happened to Sister Jones? I don't know. Well, let's call Sister Jones and find out next week, listen, Sister Jones was in the hospital. We get that information from classes. So we've got to ramp up our teaching again, which means we got to train more teachers on how to use virtual platforms like Zoom and GoToMeeting. We were cooking when we came out the door with class. We had one big General Assembly, and we were on GoToMeeting and had everybody on video. And then we got too comfortable. Folk on video in bed, folk eating breakfast, and a whole heap of other stuff. And so we had to quickly change that, take the screens down, and figure out a better way. So we're trying to figure these things out. But think about the areas we're missing on Sunday with our youth classes. Think about those areas. And so what we're doing as we will start rolling out over the next few Sundays, some classes will start becoming hybrids. I know Deacon Stanley Johnson will be one of the first teachers who will have a space here at the church. And so he'll have members in front of him in his class. He'll have his students, some in front of him while he's teaching, and the rest will be on the computer while he's teaching virtually. And so what the new ministry is going to look like is that you will come here, you might have 1, 2, 3 students personally in your class in front of you, while you got 10, 15 on the Zoom link or the GoToMeeting link while you're teaching. And so now we have to create spaces so folk can do this. So we can't put everybody back in the sanctuary with a computer, because then the bleed over becomes, I hear so-and-so teaching and I hear so-and-so teaching, so they got to have space. Plus we had to order, I don't know how many new routers for the church. I'm in the sanctuary now and I'm on a router. When you come back to worship, listen, you can come on the router. I declare I'm gonna get the password. I keep telling my staff I want the password for the internet to be Jesus Saves. I mean, it's just that simple. It's reinforcing. Right now it's Abyssinia if you're trying to log on and get online. It's just Abyssinia with capital A. But I just like Jesus Saves. I think it says a message, okay? So, but this is the new norm, and this is where we're going. And so you're going to look around, and after a while, we'll have 10 classes scattered around the building doing hybrid lessons with personal students that are here active, in person, and the other students who are at their homes or wherever, all right? And so we have to start making that. We're ordering more laptops so that teachers who don't have laptops can get their laptops. Teachers who don't know how to set up Zoom, you just got to come to church a little earlier. Media is going to have to get people set up all over the place so you can start teaching. Okay? So things are going to look different. All right? Virtual environment, one that reaches and connect members to our community. And we're going to talk about ways to do that going forward and in your groups. An online training center for biblical instruction. Now that's going to do a lot for us to keep teaching folk. Guess what else we have to teach now other than just Bible study? I now have to teach folk how to use the computer, how to do Zoom if you're over a ministry. Your ministry not going to come back to the church to meet. So you got to have your ministry meetings on platforms and in rooms like Zoom and GoToMeeting and groups on Facebook. And so we have to teach you how to get on and do that so you can still hold your meeting with your group. How to send out invitations to your group. And so if I'm on a district, I'm over a district, I need to know how to send all of my district members an invitation to get onto Zoom on a certain day that we're going to have district meeting. And from the comfort of our homes, we're going to do district meeting on platforms like Zoom. All right? So people got to learn how to do this. So we're going to teach it. Let me help you. Pastor is not completely comfortable, you might have guessed it, with Zoom yet. I'm having to learn how to do it over and over again. Sometimes I mute myself. Yeah. So, but we all got to do that. We all got to learn, okay? Effective communication strategy, most important part of our approach. Eliminates the need for members to assume. Let me help you. Communication is vital at this point. And folk got to understand that we have put some stuff in place that cannot be changed, and everybody must know what the new procedures are. All right? Because if we haven't published and established the policies and procedures, then folk will assume there are none. And we can come in and do what we want to do when we get here. Oh no, contraire. No, we have published procedures. How many of you all saw the commercial over the last 2 Sundays on coming to church? Yeah, there's a commercial that runs. Shows you what to expect. Shows you what you need to do before you get here. What to expect when you get here. Why you need to come early. So you don't just walk up. I'm just going to walk in right at 10 o'clock. Well, you're going to be late getting to your seat because you got to go through some screenings. Okay? So it's stated, and we're putting it in writing so that everybody will understand. There is a protocol here. Listen, unless you're in front of a group teaching like I'm teaching right now, my mask is here. I took the mask off to teach so you'll understand me clear. And if I don't sound clear enough, in a minute, I'll take these invisible guards out so I can talk even better than what I'm talking. All right? But for everyone else, if you were here in person with the other leaders that are here, all of the leaders in here have on masks. All of them are social distancing. Couples can sit together, all right? But still, the couple has to be social distance from the next person, all right? So there's procedures and protocol. There half of the pews you cannot sit on anymore. There are signs on the pews on the ends, and then there are signs on the seat that say you can't sit in this pew. You can't sit in this pew. I told you all on Sunday, there are no more my pews. Well, this is where I sit. Well, that was pre-pandemic. Listen, during pandemic and post-pandemic, hey, you got to get in where you fit in a certain pew. Yeah. We just can't dismiss like we used to. We have to dismiss from the rear, working our way to the front. So, well, why we just can't all get up and leave? Because here's what we do when we get up and leave. Hey, child. And you're going over there hugging people. And we gathering in the aisles. And some people ain't leaving because they waiting on somebody to come from that front aisle so they can talk. No. Everybody got to clear the sanctuary, starting from the back. You can't wait on anybody in here to talk. You have to go on outside. It's new procedure. And let me help you before you say, they just trying to be mean and nasty. No. We are trying to be safe. All right? Two things that we're doing. One thing that you need to know is people who want to be safe need to know that this is a safe place. And we won't make it unsafe so you can do your little fellowship. We can't bend the rules for you. And listen, if I got to register to come in and I'm preaching, I got to go by and get my temperature checked. I keep laughing at staff. I said, because if I get in and this thing say I'm sick, what we doing for the day? Because that means somebody else been to preach. But if I have to do it, everybody has to do it. And Tom was here. Tom said, Dad, I won't come. I'm going to come to church. Okay, you better register. Dad, yes, sir. You have to. Yeah, everybody know you. Yeah, you my baby boy. But guess what? You got to go through these procedures. So it does not change. All right? And so that you understand, there is a cutoff for registration. It's 260 something. I haven't seen the amount that have registered for tomorrow. But if we are over 260, you're going to see the sign posted on Eventbrite, cutoff. And if you just a free walk up, you're going to be turned around at the door. Okay? Because there are procedures that we must go by to keep this a safe place. All right? We are in this workshop, and in a few, we will have a homegoing celebration for Brother Moore at 1 o'clock. In between this workshop and that homegoing, they got to sanitize this whole sanctuary and wipe everything back down again. Okay, so we're holding to policies and procedures. If we're going to sustain attendance, then we got to keep to our policies and procedures. All right? People will not come and worship if they can't feel safe. It is my prayer everybody gets the vaccine so that it cuts down the percentage of being exposed in here. All right? So 85% of the staff have had their first shots. We go next week to get our second shot, and we're trying to get the rest of the staff. I'm trying to get the volunteers, people that you will see here all the time, from musicians to praise team, my ushers and my greeters. I'm trying to get everybody vaccinated. Because watch this, it hurts my heart to tell people to come and serve. I need you to come and serve. And watch this, I got to worry about you being exposed also. So I really need everybody to do that. So the pre-registration is on Eventbrite. You got to enter through the middle doors. You can't come in through the side door or the side doors on the side. Everybody got to come through the front door, get their temperature checked. Registration is confirmed. You'll get a code. They're going to make sure that you are one of the people who are registered. Mask mandate, as long as you're in the building, you got to have on a mask. If you don't have one, don't worry about it. The church will provide you with one. Temperature check. You will get offering envelopes and communion supplies out there at the table. There is no more passing out communion. If you're waiting on the deacon to come to your row and hand you the communion, that's gone. There is no more collecting of offerings. Well, you're going to come around and drop it in the basket, or we're going to pass basket. That's gone. And so you see the tithing boxes when you come in. You can drop your offering in there on your way in, or you can drop it in there on your way out. Okay? You can also put your envelopes through the door if service is over. There's a box there that will catch them. There's absolutely no fellowship moments in service and no fellowship moments in the building. I know you want to hug, kiss, can't do it. And when you exit the sanctuary, you have to leave the building. Okay? That keeps the hallway from being set. Okay, I got to get through quarantines because we got to break out. I'm over my time. What's a quarantine? A quarantine is a new approach for keeping ministries connected. Quarantine keeps us separate. When somebody's being quarantined, they're being quarantined because they might have been exposed or they might be infected. But what we're doing is quarantines, so we can still stay safe, but also do ministry. Did my connection drop? These are the things. These are the things that we go through. Yes. Y'all bear with me, y'all. Something has dropped here. I tried to do a hotspot, it won't let me. Yeah. Yeah. Why it won't let me do my hotspot?
It kicked you off the internet?
Yeah. No internet. Yeah. Secure. Connect.
Which one were you on now?
I was on monitors, app monitors. But it ain't letting me pick up. This should have jumped in.
Yeah, it's not, the computer's not letting me look up. Go to your airplane mode and just turn it off and turn it back on.
Let me see if I see this.
Yeah, because it's, yeah.
At this point, we try to do anything.
Okay, hitting it here. Or add monitors either. Connect.
But that's the one that said no internet.
No internet.
Preston, you want to try my hotspot?
I was gonna say, look for
See if that one picks up. Because I don't think it's that it's no internet, it's the computer. Because everything's broadcasting.
It's mine too.
Did yours
Everybody
come?
dropped.
Did yours come back up? Oh,
And I double
which
checked.
iPhone is that? 'Cause
well,
I
you
got
see,
mine
you saw
on
the iPhone.
Pat just,
It's an iPhone right
Oh,
there.
that's probably me.
okay, Pat just emailed the whole internet went down.
The whole net went down.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's yours or mine?
I think
Pause.
that's mine. It's named iPhone. Let's try. Let's seems like something I would name it. BKWKNY
Oh, man, but don't type
one
out there.
8TMDC. It's a better way than typing it.
Yeah, you can change that password, whatever you
Oh,
want.
yeah, you can change it on, make it easy. Yes, do yes.
So everything dropped.
Yeah, in here,
I mean,
it reboots itself.
can't connect to this network.
Is that yours? You got your hotspot?
Mine's gonna come up and say David's iPhone. See if you got that
I
one.
didn't turn it on yet. I was getting ready to turn it on if he was going to use it. David, yours not working?
No, mine's on.
Mine didn't work.
You on internet or you on yours?
I'm trying to do a
Hotspot.
hotspot.
We can trying to do the hotspot.
Dave, I don't see you. Hold on.
Turn it off and turn it back.
Yeah.
Is these kind of days.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It'll make you string a couple of them together.
I got my iPhone. I think that's my iPhone.
But it's not broadcasting the signal though. I think it's this thing. You might have to reboot.
So which was yeah, iPhone. Let's put in something easy. Put in whatever you want. Password.
He says by top
Oh, call Comcast. Tell them we need the
We
whole
already,
month free.
we already got an order in. They supposed to come and change out the whole thing.
Tell them we need a whole month free. Y'all done ruined it all.
Yeah, it's streaming now.
Do I want to trust it or keep on? Let's see.
Go with what you got.
Yeah. When I do two Pastor, I wouldn't trust it. I would just
Yes.
Yeah.
And it should just do it automatically once you get it on.
So did it drop everybody out of?
They should still be holding.
in.
Yeah,
When you
they
log
should be
back in, it's
still.
just gonna kick back
That
up.
didn't work. I don't know. It might not be my phone.
No, it
that's
didn't work,
coming.
Pastor?
Hold on, let me see.
Let's see if we can go back to
Let me see if you pick up mine, Pastor. Some of these.
The internet is back up in here.
See, this is why we having this conference.
Beeline just sent a message out.
oh, I know what she said.
What she said?
No, to let people know. That,
Oh,
hold
okay.
on. Yeah, she asked me if she wanted us to send them.
Yeah. No internet.
That's what that whole router gonna have to be restarted. Click that.
That's what I was saying. You got to redo the whole thing. You got to reboot.
Oh, there go David.
Try my iPhone.
Oh, there you go. Turn it back on. Okay.
Where? Oh, right here.
So, typing in the passcode. Freaky-licious.
2021.
I want to put my crease.
My creep line.
What we was telling you earlier, the way you had your thing, it was just looking straight up your nostril. Then when you put it down, you cut all this off.
Did I?
But the thing is, you got to stand back.
Back
You got to
here.
find your spot.
Okay. I didn't have boogers in my nose.
No, you're good.
No, we just seen
Wasn't no
where they did your COVID test at.
He's connected all day.
Mhm.
Let me go see if I'm.
Yeah, everybody's still in there.
Hey, I know the entire internet dropped.
Take a break.
Okay. 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 Share the screen, Dave. Yeah, I'm on David's hotspot right now.
Put it on mute.
Oh, it's on mute. Yeah.
His
Yeah.
line?
All
Okay.
You mute.
right, Joe. Uh-huh. I know, I was trying to do mine, but it couldn't pick up.
I need to do it.
So,
Oh, yeah.
okay, I am. All right, sorry.
So now, where Kenny? Brown,
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
go back up.
Refresh it.
Yeah, we was trying to.
So can you show his camera so he can see where he is? Right quick.
Oh,
Yeah, 'cause
yeah.
it never showed me. I was on Sister 90 for some reason.
Oh, you can switch that. Like what you see, you can put it on.
Oh, see, we don't want
Who's
that.
speaking? Who's talking?
Well, yeah. So that when you talk,
Canceled the breakout rooms.
oh Jesus.
I'll talk. Keep typing.
Do you want the control back? Because remember remember you couldn't put people in the room. Okay, all right, yeah.
So we can't move. We can't move that. I'm gonna have her now.
No, once you start talking, then
Yeah, your mic is closed. Right?
yeah, your mic is muted. So when you unmute it and start talking, it'll just be your face right now.
All right, everyone, we are trying to get back up. Apologize, we are having some foul weather and we lost our internet connection over the whole entire building. And so I'm talking to you all now from one of the hot spots. You can put that right there. Hang on, I won't answer it. Make sure it's on silent. Yeah, so give us 1 sec. I know Sister Beeland told y'all to go ahead and take a 5-minute break, but stay in the sessions. So 2 minutes, 2 minutes, 2 minutes, 2 minutes, 2 minutes.
Okay, you're coming across, but it's low. The volume is low.
Oh, Lord, go back. That ain't what we want.
What you trying to do?
Stop sharing. See, I can't see him. That's what.
Yeah, you need to go see yourself.
There I am there, but
That's what I'm saying.
Okay,
See,
go
I'm
right there
talking,
to him. Go
but-
over here to the 3 buttons.
Pin it.
Hit 10 and see if his stays up. Now,
There you go.
okay.
That's what we need to do.
There we go.
And so now,
now put me back live so I can see where I'm at. Okay.
There you go. Yeah.
But-
So just be mindful, and like if you want to move up, just
Yeah,
pull
because I
your-
couldn't see, so
Oh,
that,
okay.
I couldn't see me.
Okay.
Okay,
Shouldn't be up there.
so I'm muted, but they're saying I'm low.
Yeah. Well,
So-
when we just mute, they can't hear nothing.
I need a water.
Okay.
okay, I'm gonna kill your video for a second. Let me check your mic levels.
Talk louder. Pull this closer. Testing, testing 1, testing 2. Testing 1, testing 2. Yes. Okay. Give us a second. We're waiting on our screens to come back on. Here in the sanctuary for these. Okay, they are rebooting. So for those of you who can hear me at home, we're doing we got to do some reboot stuff. This is part of the challenges of doing ministry virtual because we are dependent upon our internet, and we sort of had our fingers crossed with the bad weather. But we are coming back up. We are good. Let's go. Quarantines. When we're looking at quarantines, we're looking at small groups with that share things in common. Small groups that share things in common. So if I'm taking a large group, and we'll look at it when we get to our age breakdown, like seniors or middle age or young adults, we'll look more at those groups. I can just make up a group. If I'm doing men's ministry and I'm trying to create quarantines within the men's ministry, then I'm looking for men that share an affinity to something, that share common likes. If I was doing a Florida Gator group with men, those who are Florida Gator fans, don't know why they would be, but I know I could have them. I'd have Deacon Wright and Deacon Williams, and no, I wouldn't have Deacon Barnes. He'd say, no, don't ever put him with that group. But these are people who share an affinity, and off of a common like, you can create quarantines. They are smaller groups within a group, all right? So if we're looking at a men's ministry of 100+ folk, and we want to see smaller groups, maybe groups of 10 and 15 that have similar likes, then we put that group together, and we allow them, watch this, to do some sharing and socializing. We'll start around their common likes, and then we'll branch out into other things. What we're creating is a fellowship among brothers without being a fellowship among all the brothers. Are you feeling it? And so quarantines have some makeups, and one of the things that we discovered, that if this is going to work, quarantines have to be safe groups. And you got to have safe people. So what you mean by that? People I can trust. That if we got a quarantine and we are sharing, maybe we're sharing our prayer requests with each other. This is my small group that prays. I know my ministers come together every morning and they pray. This is our small group. And so we talk about the things that we're facing, and we ask for prayer. But watch this. I don't need to hear what I just talked about with y'all to ask for prayer from somebody else. And so what makes quarantines work is that it's us fellowshipping in smaller groups and feeling safe about sharing as we help lift one another's burdens, all right? And then we start doing other things that help us to do ministry and connect relationally with outside folk, all right? But safe is that number one word. Here's what it puts me right there, because I know the easiest thing for a quarantine to become is a clique. All right? And so I need to throw that out there so that you don't become cliquish. All right? And be open, watch this, be open to having, to forming relationships with other people who are similar to your group. All right? If I'm starting a book club, I can't be a clique because I want to bring in more folk. All right? And so we're going to look at some things like that. That's one of our fears, and we'll talk about that as we go. Quarantines formed based on natural relationships and shared values. Let's see if I can get that back again. Okay. Identify quarantines. The goal is to have like-minded individuals grouped together. Ask groups to self-identify. And you see there's some Seminole groups, Gator group, Jaguar groups, parenting groups, grandparenting groups, going back to school groups after my first career. There are plenty of things that you can find in common, you know, especially business groups. Starting my own business, I need to be grouped with some folk who started theirs. So guess what we share in that group? We share how to get over hurdles that most brand new businesses will run into, all right? Especially if you're doing a restaurant. Listen, the rule number one is you shouldn't look for a profit for the first 3 years, because everything you're getting, you have to put back in, all right? So it's groups that you share something with, okay, that we're looking at forming. Must be intentional about gathering as a small, safe group. 4 major groups that we're going to talk with today in our breakouts is our seniors. This is the most challenging group to get connected virtually. Our seniors, we are looking at 65 and up. And watch this. I know the age groups are expansive and different, because if we're looking at 65 and up, 65 to 80, a little over 80, the majority of people in that age group are still, most of them are still self-reliant. They drive their own cars, they buy their own grocery, they go to their own doctor appointments, they do their stuff. They still have their freedom. When you start looking at 85, 90 and up, these are folk who rely on the care of other folk to help them do stuff. So I know when I say seniors, it's such a broad group, but in that broad group, here we go, quarantines, we can get smaller groups that can do different things than those who are older in the group. And so we'll look at some of those challenges when Dr. Freeman does that. Middle age, Pastor Rogers is going to do in a few minutes. We've got that being 64 down to, what is that, 50, 45? 45. So, and you'll see them then young adults, 44 to 21. And I know that's a broad, I got people born in the 70s and in the 90s, broad spectrum, but we'll look at how we break that out. And we're putting the youth groups today with the young adults, because mostly we're talking to the parents that can help us with our quarantines and small groups for our youth, all right? Idea for quarantine gatherings, develop an idea for service projects. So when you go into your group, we're going to break you into small groups in a second. You're going to work on what can you do as a service project, what can you do as community outreach based upon your group. Cookie cutter concept won't work. So every group going to have some different stuff. Every age group can't do the same things, all right? That's like me asking my seniors who are 65 and up to start blogs on social media platforms. That won't, you be like that commercial with the lady, and the lady asked her what she doing, and she stapling pictures to her living room wall. She said, what you doing? She said, I'm posting pictures on my page. She said, I don't think that's what they meant when they told you that. So we want to make sure that it's something that group does naturally and or can learn. So that's what we're looking at. Create discussion questions. And so when you go into the group, you're going to have a scribe that helps hammer out what the group needs. We're going to unmic everybody so you can talk. Topics that are appropriate for each group. Here's one that I just truly love, and I've got some movies already picked out. God at the movies, and doing virtual sessions. Movie excerpts, where we play movie excerpts from a particular movie. We ask folk to go watch the movie, and then we'll play certain excerpts from the movie, and then we flesh that out in reality. And there's some good movies. If you haven't seen American Skin, that's almost required. You need to see American Skin. It's the new Spike Lee directed movie. One Night in Miami by Regina King, on the historical night with Muhammad Ali, Malcolm X, Jim Brown, and Sam Cooke, and some other movies that we'll look at. So, and I threw those out there so that you understand not all movies will be Bible church movies. Because watch this, we are Christians living in a real world. And so some of these things that we have to look at. And then there's always the classical that I had when I was in seminary. Oh God, what is that? Devil's Advocate, and we'll look at that also. Okay, ropes, respect. This is what you need in your groups: respect, openness, participation, enthusiasm, and sensitivity. All right. Do understand, and I keep telling folk, be mindful of other folk. All right? So be sensitive. Our 4 major groups, again, senior, middle age, young adult, and youth group. And the assignment, when you get in there, will be to determine how can your group be further divided into subgroups, and your presenter will take you through these. All right? My time is short. So we're getting ready to break into groups. Now, here's the most wonderful thing. Since you've registered, Dr. Freeman, how you coming? Okay, he can't find himself, but he found everybody else. So we good. He's going to break us out into groups and send us to our rooms. You don't have to go nowhere if you're on virtual. He's going to send you to your virtual room. You'll get a thing that'll pop up on your screen for you to go in your virtual room. We've got 45 minutes for the breakout. Okay, about 11:10, we gonna, you'll get the notification, and we're gonna close your virtual rooms down and bring you back here to the main room. Pastor Rogers is in the The youth, he's in the youth room for the middle age, and for the young adults in the youth group would be with me, senior pastor, in the multipurpose room. So we gonna move accordingly. I got to leave this here. Yeah, I think because he's on. If you're in the sanctuary, I'm sorry, if you are 65 and older, please stay. If you're middle age, we're gonna see you in the youth room. What you mean?
Yeah, Pastor, I got to figure this out.
I'll just take it. I'll take it and leave you in here. But I got to take his phone with me.
Okay.
Okay. So I'm in my room, right?
Yeah, you good, Pastor.
Back on the main stage.
Yes. Brother Quincy Hart, can you see me? I just need you to put your hand up if you can see me. I can see you, Quincy Hart. Quincy, can you wave your hand if you can see me on your computer? Sister Liz Jones, can you see me on your computer? You can? You'll wave your hand, Sister Jones, if you can see me? Okay, great. So I just wanted to make sure. Oh, okay. I didn't realize if that means, yeah, I am displaying on the, okay, great. Give me a few minutes, you. I want to, I know. I'm going to. Yes, people should already be in their breakout rooms. Okay. Oh, why isn't that sharing? I thought the PowerPoint was sharing already.
Take that off.
Yeah, I'm not sharing anymore.
Okay, thank you.
I need my, Eric, can you bring my printout? It's sitting on one of the pew. So this is our assignment, you all. We have 2 questions to ask. So when Pastor was talking about the quarantines, one of the things that each group is doing is trying to figure out how can they further divide into subgroups. You know, like, so for example, it's not a bad thing. You all have been identified as the seniors. You know what? I don't know if they can see me. I got to stay in front of the camera for those people at home. I forgot about that. So for the seniors group, the assignment is we have 2 questions. Determine how the group can be further divided into subgroups. So whatever thoughts, suggestions, ideas you have, let's throw it out. So for example, let's say you have a group of seniors who like to read. So you can further divide seniors into a book group, because they may decide every month we're going to read a book and then come together and discuss it, because you're trying to subdivide based on what interest lies within the senior group, because we don't want to just try to say let's keep all seniors together and just make one big group. That's not gonna work. So it's no right or wrong answer. Just like, for example, you may have a group of senior men who love football, so they may be called the football group. So it's just looking at how can we further divide this large population into little small pockets, and those little small pockets, quote unquote, become a quarantine, and then they determine what they're going to do, how they're going to stay connected. If they decide, for example, that one of their has a small group, one of the things they want to do is just go to various nursing homes and drop things off, because we know that you can't visit, or it's limited visitation at nursing homes, but it doesn't mean that the people in the nursing home still don't have needs. So, you know, because one of the things that we're trying to do is we have to figure out how do we continue to move forward in ministry even in the midst of this pandemic. Because I just hate to believe, or I just refuse to believe, that even though we're in a pandemic, that God's or kingdom work still cannot go forward or go forth. So I need to hear from you all. So Sister Hamilton loves to write. Sister Hamilton, I need you to be my scribe, okay? And so what we're going to do is, as you all give out suggestions in terms of this is how we can further divide into subgroups, then she's just going to record that, because the end goal is we're going to collect this information from each of the groups, and then we're going to share it out to everybody, because you may see a suggestion that came out in one of the other groups that you'd be like, oh yeah, that is something that we can do. So that's really the assignment. And I think one of the things we can talk about too is how can we better reach or make sure that we're reaching our seniors even in the midst of this pandemic, because we know, not all, but we know we have some seniors, for example, who technology-wise, they're going to be challenged. They don't have no laptop. If they have a cell phone, they only use it to make phone calls, right? So how do we keep that population connected to the body of Christ and making sure that their spiritual needs are being met in terms of the Word of God getting to them? And listen, I don't have any answers. I don't know it. I think it's very challenging, but I still think it's something that we have to figure out. So I need you all to talk to me. And I'm assuming, the people at home, yes, that's who's in my breakout group. They can hear me or they can see me. So that's that. And I think if those who are watching me from home, you want to stand up here and help me? They, only because I can't do two things at one time. I was going to see if they was going to put something in chat. We could hear. I don't know, because I don't even know how it got up there. More. Okay, I got two in chat.
Oh, there you go.
Oh,
Great, you did something.
You want to respond?
no, that was someone just, no, I'm sorry. What?
You want somebody to do the chat while you talk?
Yeah, but I don't, you may have to stop sharing. I'm not 100% sure on that. So anyway, suggestions, ideas, thoughts. I remember I have to stand in front of the camera so the people at home can see me. Sister Davis. So you're saying if I have people that love football, like if I have Minister Haynes and she loves football, then I need to, for the subgroups, make sure that we identify a person who loves, we don't want to just put people in a group and they don't like the group, but whatever group people in, we need to make sure who's over that group is a person who has an interest in that versus just being assigned to a group, okay? Sister Hamilton, can you right now ensure or make sure that each subgroup has a leader? That's a good point. So Sister Hamilton put conduct survey. So maybe the first step towards identifying these subgroups, the first step is now we need to figure out how do we get a survey to the senior population so that they can respond. So is that something we can send out a link to? They click on the link, do the survey. I think that might work. Eric, can we go ahead?
No, I just want you to be center camera, and then whatever people in here are asking, if you can repeat it so they can.
Yes. Okay. And I'll make sure for the audience at home that I'm repeating everything that the people on site in front of me are telling me so that you know what's being said inside the sanctuary. So far, we're going to ensure that each group has a team lead. The second thing is we identified that one way, a good way to start this is finding a means, a mechanism to conduct a survey so we can find out what are some of those things that seniors may be interested in. Other thoughts? You all gonna have to talk to me because I don't have nothing to say. Yes. You know what? If I have someone online who wants to say something, some of you I can see because your camera is on. I can unmute you and let you say what you want to say if you have thoughts regarding this. So like I can see you, Sister Shepherd, Sister Collins, Sister Liz, the Harps. I can see you, Sister Jean, I see you.
We have a comment from
Joyce Fisher. What's her comment, Eric?
Her idea is to divide seniors and have a group that calls seniors weekly to check in on them.
So divide seniors,
Into small groups.
which,
Have someone call those groups each week to check on those seniors.
oh, the seniors who are not like, okay, I see what she's saying. Her suggestion is like, so if we know that we have a population of seniors just technology challenged who we know probably not logging in on weekly to Bible study or Sunday worship, identifying those seniors and then have a team responsible for reaching out to them just to see how they're doing or do they need anything, things of that nature. Okay, that's a good idea. You have it, Sister Hammond? Okay, all right. So, and that's a good point. We may, like Minister Haynes is saying, for those of you who are not in the sanctuary, there may be some subgroups already established, but we're just not aware of it, which is a good point too. And if that's the case, it would be good if those groups can, communicate to us, letting us know that, hey, we have a small group, because we may find other seniors that who could become a part of that. But once again, this goes back to what Pastor's saying. I'm hoping as we're talking about this, no one is thinking, our group closed, we don't want all the people in it. Because it goes back to what Pastor was saying, how we want to avoid a clique. Because listen, you all, in the midst of this pandemic, the one thing that we know everyone is missing is they're missing the fellowship of believers. They're missing seeing one another. That's one thing some people did look forward to on Sunday morning, just coming to the house of God to fellowship with their brothers and sisters in Christ. So that's not happening. So since it can't, and it's no fault of ours, of course, but because it's not happening, then we have to figure out a way, how do we continue to, ensure that people feel like they're part of the body of Christ from a, fellowship perspective, so to speak.
To add to Joyce's idea, she says that we can find enhancement activities like bingo, Pekino, etc. to help engage them.
Fine. So she said we can find enhancement activities.
So it's a two-part to call and contact, check on them, but also to find enhancement activities that we can do with them virtually or over the phone, like bingo or Pekino.
Yeah, I can see you doing it virtually. Over the phone is kind of hard because you really, well, either way it goes, you're depending on people's honesty, because I put all my things down and say bingo. You really don't know if I have it anyway. But if we ain't playing for money, it's no incentive for me to cheat. So two more ideas.
Sister Sandra Bolger says, a group for seniors still in the workforce?
A group for seniors still in the workforce. Because you do have some seniors who are still working. That's a good point. So, Sister Hamilton, you got that? A group for seniors in the workforce, yes.
Sister Vancetta Smithson says, senior health group, garden group, or some type of hobby activity.
Okay, and that's kind of along what we've been saying. Kind of grouping by like interests, grouping by hobbies. So that falls in line with some of what we've been saying. Okay.
You have one from Gwen.
Gwen.
She says, can we put up virtual computer training to help seniors learn more technology?
Yes, we can do that virtual. I think that should be one of the first things we do, and a virtual training course for seniors. We just know we have to. Yeah, and it's just, when you start throwing these things out, it's so much you have to think about. Because when I hear virtual training course for seniors, you not have to get on first, and then first, do they have a computer? Because even if I provide the computer here for the training, when they get back home, if they don't have a computer, then that doesn't, you know what I mean? And I think one of the things we probably need to do, that virtual training needs to take place in the form of helping them with the cell phone, because a lot of them do have smartphones, but they don't use it, to that extreme. They just basically, because just think about it, most seniors don't even, I ain't gonna say the average, but you'll have a population of seniors who don't even do text messages, If I sent my mom a text right now, she'll hear, but she wouldn't even know She'll tell me, Freeman, that phone beeping, I don't know why. I mean, she wouldn't know it was a text message. So it's some simplistic things we can do, because we got to think about this, and we have to be creative in terms of just making sure, because my biggest fear is, we don't want to see ourselves lose connection with our seniors because we didn't do, and I'm a firm believer of, if we do what's possible, then God will do what's impossible. But it's some things that we can do to try to make sure that they stay connected with us. Oh, you say like partner people up? Like if I know you technically challenged with phones because you don't never respond to my text messages. I'm just kidding. But like, for example, if you weren't that good with the smartphone, and I was, then team you up, pair you up. Okay, that's a good point. That's a good idea. True. I don't know, but put that on the list. How do we, because it's something to think about. You're right, because, and granted, you all, some people we may never get to take an interest, but we try, and if we can reach two, that's two that we've reached and they've gotten connected, So all we can do is make it available, make it possible, and if a person chooses not to take an interest, then, that's beyond us. They may say, no, I'm fine, me and the Lord, we talk every morning, and da-da-da-da-da. You're gonna get that. That's the reality of the situation. Deacon Collins? Right. But I think that it has to go to the training, Yeah, that has to be part of the training. And I think we just have to think about, because there's so much out there. And so some of you all who couldn't hear Deacon Collins, what he was saying is just making seniors aware of the like Messenger, Duo, the different things that will enable them to see one another face to face. Just sharing that information out with them. I just think when we looking at that, and that's a great idea, Deacon Collins. One of the things that we have to ask ourselves, which one do we believe would be the most simplistic? Because to do Messenger, for example, you got to have a Facebook account, right? But not do it right. So that's what I'm saying. We just have to think it through and figure out, because there's so much out there in the technology arena, what would make the most sense in terms of trying to reach this, what would make the most sense in the most simplistic way in trying to reach this population. Kevin Wright. So for the audience at home, that was Deacon Cameron writing. What he was saying is that if we can figure out a way to get seniors out of the house outside of just a doctor's appointment, because it's that feeling of them just being stuck in the house, with the exception of going to the doctor, the grocery store. So if we can figure out a way to get them out in a safe way. Because remember, safety is the number one concern. So please know that we're not trying to jeopardize anyone's health. So whatever things we figure out, it has to be something that we do in a safe manner, So just know that safety, because when he was talking about the quarantine, remember, this is your safe squad, your safe group. Is not, jeopardizing your health or the health of anyone else. And that's the thing that I would, want to say too, when we're talking about formulating these quarantines, what becomes really important is that to the best of our ability, we try to operate in a safe manner. So let me just put it on that and be frank. If you're a person and you're just going all around Jacksonville doing everything that you want to do, even in the midst of this pandemic, then you have to take that in consideration when you're talking about becoming a part of a team, because now you're risking the safety of other members. So if you're going to do that, as much as I don't want to see people stay in seclusion, it might be the best. Well, you might love it. Well, and if the truth be told, you're not a person staying in seclusion, because you all around the world anyway. So in that case, your connection with team members may just be via telephone. You know what I mean? Because you don't want to just, that's the one thing that I'm really hard on, is just making sure we're doing everything possible to keep ourselves safe. So because, some other people's safety is also dependent upon us. So for example, if you're taking someone to the grocery store once a week or whatever the case may be, well, that person has to get in your vehicle. So because they have to get in your vehicle, you just want to make sure the way you've operated that it's safe for them to be in your vehicle, because you haven't been here, there, and everywhere else. So safety has to always be the number one concern for every group, for every team, no matter what we're doing.
So some people have comments.
Okay.
If you can just individually unmute them so they can.
Somebody need to tell me.
Let's go with Sister Suzanne.
Suzanne, I don't see. Oh, yeah. I see it, but I don't see. Suzanne, can you? Because okay, let me go another way, Eric. I might can do it this way. Unmute Suzanne. Yeah, it should be at the bottom. It's not letting me unmute her, Eric. Suzanne, can you unmute yourself? Because I can't unmute you. She's unmuted.
Talk to her.
Suzanne? I don't hear her, Eric.
Okay.
Oh, you can do it. Okay.
This is my computer. You got to unmute your computer.
I'm not muted.
You can talk to her. She can hear you.
Go ahead, Suzanne.
Yeah, I said I did not need to be unmuted, but some folks were making suggestions, and they were unmuting themselves, and then we were hearing them, but you weren't hearing them. So I just wanted you all to explain how we asked to be unmuted so that they can ask you, make the suggestions they were making.
Okay. Yes, I'm with you. Yeah, I think I'm gonna get feedback, Eric, because I can hear it. Can you mute for a minute? Okay, so what he was basically saying, I don't know if you all heard him, is just, I know certain things that we broadcast out of what we do, people can dial in and listen. So his suggestion was us taking the time to make sure that our seniors, because, wait a minute, breakout room, do you know what to close? Okay, breakout session's about to close. I keep it open for another few minutes. He was suggesting that, like, for example, Sunday school, people can, you call in, put in the passcode, where some seniors may not even be aware that they can call in to Sunday school and just listen in, just, through the phone. So his suggestion was making sure that that we take the initiative to make sure that the seniors are aware that they can call in and, dial in and listen to Sunday school Bible study or whatever your group may do. And because I do know for some things there is something called free conference call. So that's one thing that's available out there that you can just free. I think it's freeconferencecall.com. You can get a number and you can share that number with your group, and people can just call in and you can just everyone can hear each other through the phone. So that's something we may want to consider as well. Anyone else? Oh, and I guess Sister Davis indicated that some of you were unmuting yourselves and you could hear yourself, but I couldn't hear some of those suggestions that came out. If you know how to put those in the chat window, that will be good because we can capture that information there. So I'm not sure why I couldn't hear you, because I thought I would have been able to hear you as well if you were unmuting yourself. Yeah, I don't hear anything. Who? You can unmute him.
Go ahead with your.
Still on the phone?
Yeah, go ahead with your suggestion.
Baby, go ahead with your suggestion, please.
Okay, in this, our district, we do the conference call, and what we found out is sometimes their phone service would not enable them to dial into the conference call. And we also had a problem with Sister Katie. I gave her the number so many times and she still can't do it. So what I did was, I can call them off of my landline and I can conference call them in. For some people that know how to do that, that's a way you can just get them on the phone and just do the three-way conference. And that will that's how we get Katie Davis in, enable her to get in. I just call her and do my conference, press my, how you put two people on at a time.
Yes.
And that's what, if somebody want to take the time to do that. Because some people, their phone service will not allow them to get into a conference call. It denies them.
Okay.
So I just call those persons on my phone and conference call them in.
Excellent idea. Thank you, Sister Ada, baby.
Yeah, that's it. That was an excellent idea, you all. I think most of you heard it. Something I definitely didn't think about, but that's a very simplistic way to just, because I know what on most of these smartphones, you can conference 3-4 people in. So if you know of seniors, you can just dial in first and then just conference them in to the conference line and, what have you. So bridge them in so that they can hear the Sunday school lesson, they can hear Bible study, they can hear whatever. So I do think that's an excellent idea.
If you would tell everybody on their
Okay. Eric was saying, everyone, if you on your screen, you should see a reactions button, and if you click that button, you can raise your hand, and if you raise your hand, we can identify you and unmute you so that if you have something to say, we can unmute you so we can hear your comment. So, okay, we're really about to. I'm gonna end the breakout rooms. When I end the breakout rooms, then that's going to bring the other participants back into this session. But let me just say thanks everyone for your participation, bearing with us. This is our first, virtual conference, workshop, what have you, and we know we had a few challenges and lessons learned. So we'll learn from some things, and the next one we'll aim to make better, what have you. So just thanks for bearing with us as we work through some of our challenges this morning. So with that being said, I am going to end, Pastor, I'm going to end the breakout rooms, and that's going to bring everybody back into the general session. Thanks everyone for your participation. But I actually said, don't close it now. So you could have stayed. I thought I don't know what message it gave you, but it came up.
No, it told me to close it.
Okay.
I've known that. I've kept something. Shame.
He's trying to get more time on you.
You took my
Oh, God.
So does it automatically send those people back to this main room?
Mm-hmm. They got about, let me tell you, about 15 seconds is counting down.
Okay.
It's going to automatically close them out.
All right. Can you see? You want to hold it?
You are, right?
I hear him talking. Did you want interaction from people on your feed?
Yeah, we're finna get
Okay, so when you start, tell them they can just hit on the reaction button, and then there's a raise hand. If they hit raise hand, you'll be able to see that the raise hand is up. Yep, exactly.
Pastor, I just made you the host, so you should be able to take control.
Okay, I see that. It popped up. Ain't wrapping up.
Yeah. And when they raise their hand, when you address them, Pastor, tell them to hit that button again and lower their hand. Otherwise, it's just gonna look like they're trying to talk to you. No, I didn't have control. I was just answering the questions for you.
I made him host. Pastor, can you share your screen?
Yeah, I'm finna do it right.
There we go. Okay. Ken.
All right, welcome back, everybody. I'm hoping that your breakout sessions were good. We want to share some of the ideas from each group. I'm hoping every group had a scribe, a person who would take the notes for your group to share your ideas on some quarantines that you came up with. I guess I should go with my group first. Let's do that. I had some young adults and a mixture, some middle age, and so we want to do them. Let me make sure I'm unmuting the right persons. As our group is on their way back into the sanctuary now, our middle-aged group that yeah. Okay. I think that worked. In our group, we had Brother Kevin Bolger was our scribe, and at this time, Kevin, can you unmute yourself? Let's see. Okay, try that again. All right, Kevin, can you hear me? Give me 1 second. Got it there. I don't know if he.
He's open, but you gotta unmute your laptop.
Yes. Okay, Kevin, try that again.
Yes, sir. Check, mic check. 1, 2.
Gotcha.
Be mindful of the feedback from your mic to theirs.
We'll just run through some of our ideas.
Yes, sir. Go ahead and run through the ideas for us.
Some of the ideas and suggestions that our group had was networking with professionals, small business owners, investing in stocks, bitcoins, cryptocurrencies, business entity creation like LLCs, home-based businesses, S corporations, things like that. Generational wealth building and estate planning, and budgeting, getting back to budgeting basics like we did back in the day, managing your balancing your checkbooks, and building smart financial habits.
Okay, thank you, Kevin.
Yes, sir.
That was the young adult group. Yeah, that was the young adult group. We looked at things that we could center interest around that was interesting for the young adults. And this is the older to middle age young adults, where we're now looking at how does one create generational wealth to pass down to children and create estates, separate streams of income, doing some budgeting and forming groups around these particular topics. Also with our networking for our younger young adults who are in their late 20s and 30s, you know, having groups that will help to network business-wise, and the interests of folk who are trying to meet folk in certain fields so that they can expand their horizon and also their careers. These were a couple of things with the focus of, once we meet these groups and form these groups, it becomes not just a group that's dealing with managing money or managing credit or managing or growing wealth. It becomes a Christian group that is managing money, managing wealth, and inviting non-Christians in to be relational. So as we are sharing business strategies and economic strategies, at the same time, we are expanding the footprint of our ministry as we are reaching other folk who are interested in those topics. And so when we're looking at, say, we're looking at owning your own business. And so we create a interest group of entrepreneurs that can help walk folk through the process of what you need to do, from getting the LLC and separating your business account from your personal stuff. And you're inviting in folk with those interests and that knowledge, but at the same time, as we're being relational, we are introducing them to Christ. We are expanding the kingdom in different areas. And so that's what we looked at. Pastor Rogers is here. He was with the middle age group. You got a scribe? If you got a scribe, yeah, you can still, for those in here, you can hand in the mic. Greg, give me one. Deacon Williams, give me 1 second. Can you raise your hand on your screen? I can find you faster.
Okay, hold on a second.
There you go. Okay, thank you. Oh, go ahead.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. As being the scribe, I wasn't expecting to speak to this, but I'll do the best that I can, as we are the middle age breakdown group. A couple of things that we talked about is, how do we capitalize on the diversity of our group? One of the main things that we have a lot of experience, we have knowledge, and we have know-how. And so how can we pass this down to the groups behind us? And so we started identifying groups, and the groups that we identify, we already have those ministries or groups already in place, which is couples, which is singles, but even the breakdown of those groups of couples with or without kids, couples with school-age kids versus those that aren't, singles that are single parents, not single or not single with kids. Also, those that are, especially now at this day and age.
Greg, let me interrupt you. On your tablet, can you unmute yourself?
Oh, okay. Okay. Okay, good deal. That works.
Okay, thank you. Now, sort of, for the folk that didn't hear you at home, there you go. Thank you. We could hear him in the sanctuary. You all couldn't hear him. So go for it.
Okay, so let me start this back over. So being a scribe, I was asking a scribe that wasn't expecting you to make sense. I thought I was just going to type it up. But as we determine how we can, as a group, be further divided, I'll just go straight to the point of how we are really the working group.
Okay. Great ideas. Want to thank Deacon Williams and, of course, Facilitator Pastor Rogers on those, and just looking at similar groups. Am I getting feedback? The next group? Okay, yeah. So we'll pick up on where we are. I want to hear from our senior group now. That's the 65 and older that Deacon Freeman was over, and looked like you finna. I'm a mutant.
Can they hear me, Pastor? Can you hear me?
I can hear you on.
Surveys to find the interest of the group. Also identify seniors that are technically challenged and reach out to them. We need to identify a group for virtual training for seniors. A group to identify hobbies of seniors. A group for seniors in the workforce.
On that, right-hand
A
side.
group to include seniors to make sure seniors know that they are included, they can be included on conference calls. A group to partner seniors with one-on-one training.
I'm gonna have it charged up so I can watch the
A group to
funeral.
find a way to get seniors interested
phone,
in
ain't it?
using technology. And another was to find means for getting seniors out of seclusion in a safe manner. And the last one was make sure seniors know that there is a call-in number for Sunday school.
Okay. Hybridly. All right. Thank you. I think a lot, if you notice from the comments, a lot of what is what was being discussed are basically what we are faced with in the pandemic, what it looks like from different age groups of different generations. The seniors are faced mostly with this technology gap that sort of keeps them from being involved, and so we're looking at that. At the same time, how do we close the gap, and what can we do to help keep them in the loop? Now, when you think about church, before the pandemic, and you're looking at generations or age groups that are most faithful, show up the most with attendance, the largest givers of tithes and consistency, that's our seniors. And now with the pandemic, they are on the outside of the curve, where they want to be involved in worship, don't know how to get worship on, and stuff like that. And so part of our challenge is getting our seniors help to become more technology affluent, and at the same time, I was proud to see that the majority of our vaccinations on the other day, quite a few of our seniors, because they're the most vulnerable group, went and got their first shots, vaccinations, and we're pushing for all of our seniors to get there, because what we want is a safe environment and them to be vaccinated completely so that they can have this option of being in person, all right? And that sort of helps. If I can't get everything technology-wise, I can still get back in the loop. I'm protected, I'm being safeguarded with the procedures that we're doing so that I can get back to a level of activeness within the church. And so I like that. Our other ministries that they were just looking at day-to-day challenges. Young adults saw real quick the need for budgeting when you're in a shutdown, the need for extra streams of revenue when you're in a shutdown to keep stuff going, self-businesses, because folk having to generate funds. And sometimes it's new hustles. I was talking with Brother Mario Chapman, and he said, man, I met a guy at Home Depot, and he caught me. He said, Rebby caught me. He said, man, we from out of state, and this is where we ended up. And me, my wife, and the kids, we sleeping in the car out in the parking lot in Home Depot. And he said, can you just, can you loan me $10? Can I have $10? And I said, I had the $10, gave the brother the $10, told me, thank you, God bless. And Mario said, when I get back to Home Depot at the end of the week, he said, I'm walking back through the parking lot and I hear somebody, hey. And he turned around. He said, it was a brother I gave $10 to. He said, hey man, thank you for letting me borrow $10. Here's your $10 back. And he's like, okay, what's going on? He said, man, I took your $10. I went down to the dollar store and I bought me a case of water. I've been out here, the workers coming in to the Home Depot to get their stuff. I've been selling water, $3 a bottle. Got me enough to get me a hustle, go get me a couple more cases. I'm doing some other stuff. Me and my family over there in the hotel, we paying, we paid up through the rest of the week. And I promised the Lord, if I saw you again, I was going to give you, but I just needed some starter money and I can get it from here. Sometimes, listen here, necessity is the mother of creativity. And bruh had that thing, listen, he had it mapped out, because Mario say, man, he got waters and now he washing cars over on the side, and bruh is hammering. He said, I just needed something to get started. And so what we're discovering is that there are people out there who, I need an extra stream of income. I need to figure out how I can get some extra money in to take the shortcoming of where money has stopped. And you can bump into somebody who say, listen here, I'm doing this here. Let me show you how. And you can do that through these groups. That we ain't charging you for information, we sharing information, and watch this, and we ain't shucking, we putting a group together of like-minded, but we saved. And here's how we affect change. My son was telling me, Dad, we as young adults, we got to do something. We got to do something. We ought to be out there marching. And, they were marching downtown. He said, and you got to get the people together and march. I said, Tom, I think we pretty much every generation done marched. And I'm in full support. I said, but I'm a little older now, and I've gotten to the point where I can get into some rooms and make some discussions. And I've gotten enough folk now that we can put weight on certain people. Doesn't mean that we don't need people to still march. We do need some people in the back rooms, though, to do that. But if you got young adults and they've got a passion, to go out and push for change, while we're pushing on the inside, by all means, y'all, y'all got them legs. Go do it. So you got groups that have interests, that can do things that they're passionate about, do things that they need to learn, do things that can help other folk so that they can be more viable in this pandemic environment. And so we see all of that with our groups. We will start forming groups. And there's a way to form groups on Facebook that will be connected with church. I was looking at one church, they had almost 200 different groups, small settings of different interests. And this is their reaching the community through different avenues. Here's the thing that worries me so with these groups, because we always want to monitor what we're doing to make sure ain't nothing being said that that blackens the eye of the church, make us look bad. We don't want nobody on no groups. Just, I got the group and we cuss everybody out on our group. No, we can't do that under the church's name. So we got to have groups. We got to figure out some kind of way to put in some standards, some rules, and have some people who we charge with the head of the groups that are responsible to make sure that we are staying in limits, and we're not doing stuff that is not becoming of the gospel of Jesus Christ or the reputation of Abyssinia. And so I got fears with that, but we got to get into these avenues. And so we'll start putting stuff together. We're going to do some training. That's what you're finna see come up next. We're going to do some training so that we can get these things together. All right? So let me push. Sunday school is currently held via Zoom for individual classes and GoToMeeting for General Assembly. As I already told you, we are phasing in classes that will meet here at the church and take on a hybrid form, like this meeting we're in here. Imagine if all of us were in the multi-purpose room with our social distancing, and our teacher is teaching from the laptop like I'm doing right now, talking to a virtual class and a present class at the same time. And watch this, when Sunday school is time to end, he'll get that notice that we got on our virtual screens then, hey, this session is ending, getting ready to go back to the main stage, which is the main room, which is to be the sanctuary. So we will start phasing those classes in, and more you'll look, and your teachers will start having classes here, so that, hey, you know what? I've gotten a shot. I'm good health. I want to go join in person, and so you'll have that opportunity as we continue to add more teachers. Okay, we are slow rolling everything out. Listen, it was my desire we'd all be back in service November 1st. We back in this sanctuary. We got to try stuff. We got to work kinks out of stuff. And we have to know when we need to stop something and fix it before it involves a lot of people. So we are doing slow rollouts. And so we've asked teachers who want to be on site, and we've got a few that have already said, hey, I want to come back to church and be on site. So we're working them in. We are coming back to BL Win in a virtual way. And so our BL Win teachers will have the same thing, a hybrid approach. We'll come into general session. I'll greet everybody. Everybody will go to their virtual rooms where their teachers will teach. And at the designated time, there's a countdown. They'll come back in here for a wrap-up, invitation, offering, and benediction. And we'll be rolling this out. We probably won't get the BL Win back up and rolling until April. All right, and we're giving ourselves enough time to work out lessons, work out full curriculums, and then work out the logistics of who's gonna be here, who can and who can't be here, and who's teaching from in here and who's teaching from at home. so that we can coordinate all these things, okay? We are looking at, let me push on. We are looking at doing online training and making this an online training center. If we're going to do this right, then we literally have to train ourselves so that we can have everybody up to par, especially if we're doing teachers. Well, I was trying to do something there that didn't work. Okay, I'll keep it moving. So we want to train folks so that we can envision the Savior in new and different ways. We got to continue our Christian education, but it also involves training on Zoom, training on groups, so that people can do it in a proficient way, all right? There's nothing like trying to teach something and you can't get the modem of the teach of how you're gonna teach it done. You can have all the lesson you wanna have, but if you can't get it on this to get it out there, it doesn't matter. It can't work. I was offered a chance to teach at FAM. I thought that was a wonderful opportunity. I said, man, I could be an online professor. And they called me and told me, all right, the class is already 3 weeks behind. That's strike one. And I got to catch up. And I said, well, somebody send me a curriculum. We'll email it to you over the weekend. And so over the weekend, you want me to learn Eastern religions in the weekend, and then you want me to present it on Monday. And they say, then you got to present it on Canvas, which is the new teaching platform. And they say, do you know Canvas? No, they didn't have a Canvas when I was in school. We did Blackboard when I was in seminary, but now Canvas is the new Blackboard. I've never done it before. So let me see if I got you right. You want me to learn the curriculum over the weekend. You want me to learn how to do Canvas. You can't let me into Canvas until Monday when it's time for me to teach. This ain't gonna go well. And it already got, I got failure all the way across it right now because I'm a fail. So you got to know how to get the information out. You got to know the system on how to do training there. Let me put, I'm going. Give me 1 sec. It's hiding itself. Okay. Can't do that. Oh, all right. I think that's better. All right. Am I still up? Oh, okay. Because I couldn't see half of my screen. I apologize. The second part of the vision is that every member of Abyssinia should be educated and equipped to the fullest use of their spiritual gifts, be achieved through loving God, loving self, and loving others, serving the world. Watch this. As we are now reaching the world in new ways, we must still stay active. A church that is doing, a church that is going. I hit on this before. We've been blessed to partner with Farm Share, and once a month now, because we've been doing it. So they made us our own thing. We can get food and stuff. And so we're gonna still do that. But watch this, we have to do it with members who volunteer. And so part of what ministries will have to push for is, listen, March, farm shares coming up. And here's where our ministry hadn't been together in 6 months. So we're going to call all the people in our ministry and we're going to volunteer to show up so that we can serve folk and hand out the food for farm share. That's active events for ministries to have, all right? I know I got a dedicated group that always volunteers to come out here and help bag the stuff and help put it in things. So watch this, Abyssinia got a whole heap of ministries. And since ministries aren't doing other stuff, as we're serving through the community, you ought to get the able-bodied people who can in your ministry and say, hey, we're going to show up and participate with this. There's a lot of issues that we're facing. Of course, the homelessness issue, and it's cold downtown, and they won't put people out. They did find a hotel to put some folk up in, but they still trying to get rid of all the homeless off the street, but they ain't got a place for them to go. So we're trying to put our heads together to figure out how can we fix this. And we in staff meeting this week working on that, and got a call from our school down the street that we partner with. Principal called, say, hey, we got a real problem over here. We got a whole heap of children who don't have winter coats. And they come in, their parents are sending them to school, and some of these kids got on short sleeve shirts. It was 30-some degrees the other day. And so I told Brother Sparrow, I said, now, for the short-term gap, $50,000, and y'all go buy coat, take them to the school. I said, I'll talk to leadership when we meet with leadership conference, and I'll tell you, hey, we got a need, we partner with the school. Principal called here with a need. We got children who are from this community that have no coat. And think about how many people we have in this church, watch this, that got children's coats, most of them brand new. You say, well, how you know that, Pastor? I know, because when I had Inundi, Inundi got so many grandparents and godparents and stuff that were buying clothes. We had coats. By the time she wore everything, she didn't get to this one because she done outgrew this one. It still got the tags on it. And so, listen, there are enough members in Abyssinia who would say, hey, tell me some sizes, and run down to the store, go to Burlington, and pick up some coats so these children don't have to freeze coming to school. That's simple stuff. Because watch this, if the school's in our community and we're in the community, then these are simple problems that we can fix. So, yeah, we need some coats. I said all that to say we're gonna need some coats. Okay, and we'll reach past our school and start talking to these other schools that have children that don't have winter clothes. And don't fool yourself, because this food line is tremendously long. And if the food line is tremendously long, that means parents, watch this, not only am I not having enough money to buy food, but most kids this year didn't get school clothes. And so if my son's jacket stops almost to the elbow, we didn't get money to go get another jacket this year. And so these are the things we do. All right? And I wanted to push that, and I said I'll do it Sunday, but listen, we got this call on Tuesday morning. I really couldn't wait the week. Yeah, we took 1,000 out the account, and when it started buying, and then I promised them, listen, when I talk to the leaders, we'll make sure that we're fulfilling these needs. Because when God has blessed us to be in positions, I mean, we've been blessed that, watch this here, a coat ain't gonna set a whole heap of us back, not 1 hour older. and we just go get it. T-shirts, because if I can tell you this, and you ain't got no coat, my grandma would be the first one to tell you, you ain't got no T-shirt on either. And so these are the things that people need while DC is debating if they're going to give folk money to help them. Because life still goes on, okay? And so those are the kind of things, and I have to say, we cannot shrink in a pandemic from being a viable church that ministers to folk who are in need. We can't. And here's why we can't. Because the budget is done. It should be posted this weekend. Y'all can see the budget from last year and what we're projecting for this year. Listen, is what 2020 was, and it was rough. But 2020, y'all, we were short from what we did in 2019. And I remind you, 2019 was a centennial year where we took in a whole heap of money. And I mean, we were just barely short. So that means we made budget. So with that, I wanna encourage us to continue to do. Okay, let me push on. I got somebody. Paul, can you control that? I really am trying.
Brother David, will you please mute your phone?
Yeah.
Your phone is unmuted.
David Wright, please mute your phone. That'll help pass the whole heat. Thank you. I'm pushed to, we're going to do some video, audio teachings by pastor. One of the things that I'm becoming committed to and determined to do is to be more interactive online. If you notice, I don't do a lot of postings. Most of what I post is sharing stuff. I share all of the flyers and stuff from the church on my site. I don't do a lot of Facebook Live. Let me be honest, I don't think I've ever done a Facebook Live. But I'm looking at areas now where going live and doing discussions can greatly help folk who watch this want more than a 90-minute session on Sundays. And the young lady suggested, Mondays is a good time where a pastor can sit down and have open discussion with members in a group about Sunday sermon and the material. We're in a series on reconstructing the gospel. Let me help you. Sermon is the tip of the iceberg. There's so much stuff that's left on the floor. I'm having trouble figuring what to preach and what not to preach. And literally, there's quite a bit that should be taught. My mother told me 2 Sundays ago, I said, what you think, she said, your sermon was good. Point 1, point 2 was good. And point 3, you went too technical, you got too deep. You say you coming to get us, you finally got me, but yeah. I said, dang. And she said, ease up, you went a little too much. I said, well, I studied a whole heap and I was trying to say it all. But I know that there's a better setting that we can look at questions because a lot of this can be quite confusing, and I understand how people can look at the series. When you're talking about reconstructing a gospel, and I'm trying to get you to see Jesus in a different view. And thus, the whole series is where our theme is envisioning the Savior in new and different ways. I'm trying to get you to see Jesus and where his heart is. Because we live in an America now that they are presenting a Jesus that I declare it has nothing to do with the Lord. This is, yeah, it's apolitical. So we want to do courses that will address folk in the pandemic. So we can offer stuff, envisioning the Savior in a new and different way. I just talked about that. Shaking off fear during the pandemic. It's a whole heap of folk who are sitting at home literally in fear because I don't want it. I ain't going nowhere. I ain't doing nothing. I don't want to catch this. But God hasn't given us the spirit of fear. Now, we must be prudent. That don't mean you walking around without your mask and just talking to people. You got to take your precautions, but at the same time, you got to get beyond your fear so that your fear doesn't control you and you live in a phobia bubble at your house. Okay? So we got to address that. Weathering the blues and overcoming depression. If nothing else, this pandemic has created depression all over this country. And how do I know? Because I fight it off. Pastor Rogers will tell you, hey, we call each other to check on each other. Because it's real. My niece Kyla, cousin, and you probably saw it on the news, jumped off the Matthews Bridge a couple weeks ago. People don't know what pressure feels like. And you strip a person from their job, and they can't see where the next check coming from, and they got folk depending on them. Yeah, pressure will make you do some stuff. And it is depressing. So we want to cover that, overcoming worry, financial stewardship, being a good steward in the midst of a pandemic. Sometimes pandemics can help you get your budget right, because you'll be amazed what you can live without. And I'm really finding out there's some stuff I can live without that I can't pay for. My kids, bless their heart, my son Tom and my baby girl Inundi are gurus on saving money. And I'm scratching my head. So wait a minute, they vacationing all over the place, out of the country, and FaceTime me out of the country, and oh man, it had this place, a mansion with its own swimming pool, and I'm like, I know I gave y'all too much money. No, Dad, and he told me the price, and I'm sitting there scratching my head. You telling me you in another country, staying in a mansion, and you ain't spent no more than $200? Yeah, y'all don't know how to go on the sites and get the discount. I said, well, I need you to teach me how to go on the sites and get the discount. Because while you in another country on vacation, you asked me where I vacation this year. I went to Palm Coast and couldn't stay there but for 2 days. And I'm trying to figure out how I get out the country money. And they've learned how to do things on a budget. They live on Groupon. And I'm telling them, that stuff ain't real. You see, no, it's real. They send me pictures. So sometimes we can do better if we learn how to do what they doing. And so I asked them, you know, Tom a firm believer. You know, where we going to get? We on our way to Burger King, and there ain't nothing. We going fishing. We stopping to get a sandwich. And he said, hold on, Dad. And he pull up his little app, and he said, all right, this is what we're getting. And they scan that there, and one meal free. I said, how you do that? You got to get the app, Dad. I told you to get the app. It's stuff we ain't hip to, that in a time like this, we all need to get hip to it. Yeah. My son got HBO. I'm trying to figure out how he watch HBO for free, and I'm paying for it. Yeah, so it's stuff like that. So here's what's next. We're going to identify and define our quarantines, put in some rules in place, get our groups started, start connecting with community as we start our reach out campaign through our smaller groups. We got to get our mobile apps established better, because we got a mobile app, but I don't think nobody use it. So we're going to upgrade that so it's more friendly, user-friendly. It would be nice if I could get everything on my mobile app, Zoom meetings and all of that, just come to the mobile app and I just click it in my hand. So we're going to work on that. And doing things to help us get into our groups and to help us extend our reach. So we'll be doing that. Those are the things to come. At this time, I'm going to ask for question and answers if we have some. Yes, Dr. Freeman? Oh, okay, hold on. Ropes? Okay. What was the question? Oh, what ropes stood for? As you're in your small group, the ropes basically stand for how to operate in a small group. You got to respect other folk, openness. We need everybody to participate so it doesn't become a one-person show. Keep the enthusiasm and be sensitive to others. We had some Sunday school classes that got out of hand. We had to reel in. Folk were typing and saying stuff, literally about other classmates. Yeah, so we had to come back and do some protocols. Listen, everybody's got different characteristics and different ways of thinking, but you got to respect folk. What's a crazy question to you might not be a crazy question to somebody else. And if you treat them crazy because of the question, then you offend folk. All right? Because watch this here, that you don't know how to share your screen in Zoom. To a person who uses Zoom every day at work, that might seem retardedly simple, and you say something, but let me help you. I'm on that other end where I'm learning how to do stuff. And what's simple to you ain't simple to everybody else. And you can't respond or make comments like this person is the slow one or the dummy or the something. Listen, listen, some of this stuff look like quantum physics. And I tell you, I know it looked like it, because I have to connect this computer here to Boxcast every Wednesday to do Bible study. And you think that's easy? It ain't. So I let Patrick and the media staff, they log into this computer while I'm at home and I watch the cursor go and do all kind of stuff. I ask questions, what you doing now? Why you doing that? What's this about? Because there's so many steps to it that it's difficult. And if that ain't your area, then don't treat somebody like they the dunce, okay? So part of this is being respectful to people, walking people through. Everybody don't understand. Sometimes we get on the phone and they got noise in the background. Everybody don't understand how to mute it. And folk don't know if they own yet. And you on the other end yelling, you own, we hear you. So, yeah, y'all got to be sensitive in this time, okay? Because let me tell you what happens. If I'm on with your small group or your class and you offend me, I ain't coming back. And that's when your quarantine will turn into a quarantine clique. And we've got to safeguard against that, all right? And so that a person doesn't know how to do something, ain't your time to show how brilliant you are and talk about them. I'm gonna put them down while I push me up. That ain't that time, because we all struggling to get along in this pandemic, all right? So it's not that simple, not that simple. There are a whole heap of different curves that go with this thing. And what's easy to some is difficult and sometimes almost impossible to others. So bear with us. That I need to stress that, okay? Please bear with us as we go forward. Questions from anybody? If you're on Zoom and you got a question, you can raise your hand or unmute.
Pastor Diamond,
Yes, Miss Shelby, how you?
how you doing? I'm sorry, my phone went dead. My mom told me that you were looking for me, and I ran back and charged it. But I understand what you're saying with everything. Okay?
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
I'm gonna let you give you thumbs up.
Okay.
I understand. Okay.
All right, thank you so much.
All right.
Deacon Barnes? Right now, those links are being sent to the students. Am I right about that in the back, Eric? The Sunday school class links for the different classes are being sent to only the students in that class? Yes. So if you're trying to go to a different class, you're not going to get that link. Okay. Okay, so let's do it this way. If you want to get in a class, if you got the teacher's number, you can get added in and get the link. Okay, if you would notify Deacon Freeman, and he just needs to know whose class you're trying to get in, and he'll make sure you get the link. Okay. Any other questions? Good question. If you're in Zoom, you can either unmute or hit the reaction button, or raise your hand.
Hey, Pastor, I miss you. This Lee and Sheila.
Hey, Lee. Hey, Sheila. Miss y'all too. Sheila, we've been praying for the family with the homegoing of your dad, and you all have been in our prayers. Good to have you.
All right. Thank you so much, Pastor.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Anyone else? Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. No, that's Sheila Seltzer. Anyone else online? If you hit your reaction button or unmute or in person, so get ready to wrap it up. Okay. With that being said, I think we are at the end. Okay. I haven't seen anybody raise their hand or hit a special effect. I'm guessing I haven't. All right. So okay, so with that being said, we've got an hour before we do the homegoing for Brother Moore, and so we're gonna cut it because we cut into that hour of time that we need to get transition. Again, let me thank all of the participants. All of the material is available, and we will post it online. So, Kevin, if I can get you to, I have Paul to send you the either the PowerPoint or the Word document, and we can get it posted online so folk can go online and go over the material. Thank you so very much. I definitely appreciate everybody from Dr. Freeman, who's pulled all this together. Dr. Henry was supposed to be on. She had some sinus issues, so we're definitely praying that she feels better. Thank God again for Pastor Tommy Rogers from the Bethlehem Church and any of the Bethlehem members that have joined our workshop today. Want to thank God for all of these who are present in the sanctuary. Listen, if you have not registered for church on tomorrow, you can still register. I think we still have some space available. I'm looking in the back at Eric. Yes, we still have some space available. You can get registered, please. Also, if you need to pick up your communion supplies today, if you're not coming to church and you want to have your communion supplies at home, then you can pick those up now to 1 o'clock, now to 3 o'clock. So swing by, the deacons are here, and they will give you as many communion supplies as you need. I think I got everything. I've covered everything, all of our announcements. So I look forward to seeing you on tomorrow. Coat sizes for, I got a lot of folk texting. It's kindergarten to 5th grade, right? 5th grade. I don't know what size that is really, but I know some ladies here who can tell you. So just imagine kindergarten. That's pretty small. That's a toddler. Yeah, Minister Haynes saying you in the kid sizes around 6 to 14. Yeah, for those who buy for kids. I just took my children to the store, and I don't know what size they were. So, yeah. So thank you so very much for helping us meet the need in our community, and I want to thank you for participating. All right, the benediction. And now may the grace of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, the love of God, the communion of his Holy Spirit, may it rest and rule with each and every one of us now, henceforth, and forevermore. Amen. Thank you again. I love you, and I'll see you soon. God bless.
See you later, Pastor. Thank you.
Thank y'all. Thank y'all. God bless you. Love y'all so much. Good to see so many of you.
Yeah, love you.
I see you, Miss Gina.